Hey everyone, it is me, Prince Caius here, and I am sorry for not doing my intro in the last video, but I'm going to do it from now on. Hopefully I don't mess up like last time and all the other times that I did my YouTube videos, but I delete them all, besides my new ones. So let's hit that intro. Okay, so this is how we're going to start it. Deku can control the gravity around him. Deku will be born with this quirk ever since he was born. He used it ever since he was born on himself and around himself. So every single time he used it, his arms and legs were broken almost all the time when he was a baby. But when he was 10 years old, well, when he was a baby, he was using 10 times normal gravity, but when he turns 4, he starts to use his quirk a little bit more on himself, and he notices that he's actually using it on himself. And he uses it 100 times normal gravity. Then when he hits 10, he starts using 400 times normal gravity. When he's 14, he uses 1,000 normal gravity. Deku will increase the gravity around himself every time the next year hits around. So, Deku and Uraraka goes to the same school in this what if. So, let's start. Now, the first day Deku goes to school, he sees a girl. He sees a girl getting bullied. He walks up to her and protects her, obviously, just like a hero would. The girl tells, Uraraka and Deku talk for about a few hours during recess. Deku obviously tells her what his quirk is, and Uraraka tells him what his quirk is, basically. What her quirk is. Deku stops using his quirk on himself without even realizing it, and he starts to jump in with joy, but Uraraka grabs him in midair before he flies into space. Deku starts to use 400 times gravity without knowing it. I mean, he is using it 400 times again because he just realized he's using his quirk on himself, and that's why he's ripped. Deku hits the ground and faints with broken bones. Oh my god, I messed up. Okay, I just realized I didn't mess up. But when Deku falls on the ground, he does break his bones. Just his legs. And he goes to the nurse's office. Well, Uraraka uses her quirk on Deku because he's using 500 times normal gravity on himself without knowing it, so she has to use 0 gravity on him. And she takes him to the nurse's office. When Deku wakes up, Uraraka jumps up, hugs him, and yells. Deku yells in pain because his legs, chest, arms, and skull is cracked. Well, most of his legs are broken. Deku tells her to keep hugging him so he doesn't fly away. Uraraka tells Deku that she would be the best wife for him. Deku blushes and while saying, "I'd love to be your husband one day, but right now. I'm literally stuck on this bed. I cannot get up. My legs are broken. Uraraka blushes and says that it was a joke, but Deku tells her that he is serious. But so a few years go by. Deku and Uraraka starts to date. When they are 10, Deku works out more and more when he starts dating her because he wants to protect her and protect everyone else. So this is the time of the beginning of the anime. So when Deku and Uraraka was walking home through the shortcut, they get jumped by the sludge villain, but Deku makes the sludge villain fly and puts 1,000 Gs on him, 1,000 normal gravity on him. Then there was a voice saying, "I am here." Well, he says, "Have no fear, because I am here." All Might was looking at Deku and Uraraka in shock because of what Deku is doing. Deku knocks out the villain. By using the gravity quirk, by making the air thinner in there, in the air bubble. So the villain's obviously knocked out because there's no oxygen for him to consume, and hands the villain to All Might. All Might deflates into Small Might. He spits some blood out. Deku and Uraraka ask what happened and who he is. Is he the real All Might? Is he an imposter? Small Might guarantees them that he is the real All Might and tells him about his quirk. Well, not about his quirk yet. Tells him about what happened to him and all about All for One, just a tiny bit of what he basically said in the anime, besides the "you can be a hero" speech. Small Might tells them both and asks that and asks if Deku would want to inherit his quirk. Deku says yes. Small Might gives Deku his quirk. Deku and All Might trains for 6 months, plus Uraraka is training with them. Deku can use 100% of the quirk because he's been training with 1,000 Gs ever since he was 14. For only a year he'd been using it, but now he can use 10 million times normal gravity. So he's gonna be more ripped in 6 months. So a day before UA, Uraraka tells Deku, tomorrow is the UA test. We should get some sleep before we pass out in the entrance exam. Deku tells her that he loves her. She blushes, and starts to float away. Deku obviously uses his quirk so she doesn't fly away. So a day goes by. Deku and Uraraka walks to UA. While Deku and Uraraka is walking to the door of UA, Deku trips. Okay, Deku trips and starts to fall, and all of a sudden starts to float. Uraraka says, "You know it's bad luck if you fall on your face, an important day like this." They both walked in, just like the anime. but they already knew each other, so that's good. Everything else happens the same until the robots come. So 3, 2, 1. Everyone starts to run, and Deku starts to he starts to not use a million G's on himself. So he hits robot after robot while using 100% of One for All. He is destroying a little bit of the buildings, and when the 0-point robot is summoned, everyone starts to run away. Deku starts to run starts to run around to find Uraraka, but hears a girl screaming, and he saw it was Uraraka. Deku starts to run, hoping that he can save her. So, when Deku jumps up, while saving Uraraka with his quirk, Uraraka gets out of there. Deku jumps up and he throws a punch. The 0-point robot and 25 other robots and a bunch of other buildings gets destroyed. Basically like All Might's punches, but 10 million times stronger. Okay, so Deku takes Uraraka home after the UA testing festival, whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Then goes home. A few days go by. Deku goes to Uraraka's house, and then they went to UA because they got their, they got accepted. So when they get to 1A, before they enter, Eraserhead tells them to go outside and wait for the others, and then opens the door, tells everyone else to get out and go to the testing to test their quirks. So Deku got first place in everything because of his One for All, 100%. And by the way, he is using full caling around his whole body as well, so he knows how to use his quirk 100%. So Eraserhead tells everyone that they did well and no one is getting expelled. He was serious about it, but he saw all of them done great work. Plus they can be heroes. Time for the battle test arc. Deku and Uraraka went into the building. Bakugo jumps in front of Deku and Uraraka, trying to blow off Deku's face, but Deku uses his quirk and makes him fly, and makes the air thin around him, around Bakugo. So Bakugo passes out. Deku ties him up, and then they go to Ida with the bomb, where the bomb is. So Deku and Uraraka goes to the bomb. Deku makes Ida trip with his quirk, while Uraraka grabs the bomb, and they won. So let's tell you, Deku is overpowered in this What If because he can use 10 million normal gravity on himself, and okay, so Deku could use can manipulate the gravity around him and others and make the air thinner and basically make them pass out if he needs to. So basically he can control oxygen and the gravity, and if he puts someone in a gravity bubble, he can force their bodies to like go like inward themselves, basically break their own bones with their bones, or knock them out. So he's way overpowered. He can use 100% of full cowling and is stronger than All Might. So he is overpowered right now. So look forward for the second what if. So hit that outro.